What's good, YouTubeites? Welcome to Lords of the Long Box. Happy new comic book day to you. Even though it's not new comic book day, we're still going to rock it like we normally do. So we got a cool show. We got a long-term spec list and a scoop regarding War Machine and Disney Plus. That's right. So let's kick it off right, boys and girls.
Bust it. Shake and bake and pull it back.
Oh my God.
What's good, everybody? It's good to see everybody in the live chat. I noticed our notifications are working again. There was quite a few of you tailgating in there about 20-30 minutes before the show, so we appreciate it. Shout out to everybody in the live chat before it gets too busy. Chato, Danny Labarra, Dollar Bin Fodder, Dave in the Cave, Matt Forge, Jeff Schultz, Jay Salsa, Audi Rosal, Exotic Comics. That's what I'm just going to call it with that. Exotic Comics is whatever. Man Cave Chronicles, Sith Lord holding it down with the wrench, Azorius Tiger, Snizzle Pop, haven't seen you in a minute, good to see you, Gabriel Fonseca, Alex Perez, shout out to everybody. We're going to get right to it, but before we do, let's pay some bills, and more importantly, you know, we need to make sure that our sponsors are taken care of, because right now they're hurting along with everybody else. First of all, the show is sponsored by our friends at Rocket Comics. Hit up Rocket Comics at all their different social media outlets and tell them the Lord sent you. You'll get 20% off any of your first pressing order. Yes, he's still pressing and submitting to CDC. If you don't know, CDC is still open. They are considered a essential business in Florida, but apparently it's a loophole because they are basically, Florida said, if you're dealing with e-commerce and seeing any customers face-to-face, then you can remain in business. So there you go. So regardless of how you think about that, they're still taking submissions. So there you go. You still got something to submit. So so Rocket can submit your comics to CDC, and he does great pressing. So you can look forward for that. Also, the show is sponsored by our friends at KRSComics.com. Go to KRSComics.com, use the discount code of LOTLB to get 15% off any KRS Comics exclusives. There's one dropping tomorrow. Man, I'm getting it. I think we're all going to get it. The Batman Adventures.
Yes.
It's
killer. Batgirl Adventures continues.
Batgirl. It's a homage to Batman Adventures number 12 with the Harley Quinn cover, but this time you know what? Let me I'll show it to you guys later, man. Go to KRS Comics website. It's going on for pre-sale tomorrow, I think at 11 a.m. Pacific.
Shit, man.
And let me tell you about this. KRS Comics always sells out exclusives within 2 to 3 minutes. KRS laughed at me when I was like, hey, man, you got any more of these left? I'm asking like 3 hours later. He goes, dude, they sold out in 5 minutes. So make sure you hit up KRS Comics. And guess what? The discount code will work on these because they're KRS Comics exclusives. Just use LOTLB to get 15% off this gorgeous. As we're talking, I'm going to go to his website and pull it down so I can show it to you guys.
Awesome, especially you're a fan of that book and that character, obviously.
Yo, Batgirl is thick, son. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it's a great cover. Damn, is there a way to show that to people?
Yeah, let me
he'll pull it up.
This show is also sponsored by the geekyswagshop.com. Go to the geekyswagshop.com, use the discount code of LOTLB to get 15% off anything in the Geeky Swag Shop. Make sure you go support them. They've been a great sponsor for the Lords, for New York Warriors, and the 3 Men in the Basement. Great guy, man. Make sure you help them out as well.
Statues, gear.
Oh, they got everything, man.
Yep, all of it.
Let me
I need to find out if he's got if he does socks, like kooky, like
he does gear like that. He does like backpacks too. And
you know what I'm thinking, man? I'm thinking about making Lords of the Long Box logo face masks.
It'll be around long enough.
I'm straight up serious. I mean, there's a place called Custom Ink that makes the masks, but they're saying they're not customized yet. But they said pretty soon. So I was like, you know what? Dude, just put it right in front of your face. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Here, let me show you right now. You guys say hello, everybody in the live chat.
Yeah, Moonbase Alpha hanging out, Manny Diaz. We got Rag 718 in the house. What up? Johnny Boy's here. Dollarman Fodder's hanging it down. And it's answer a question to Audi right here. No, I did not make the trade with Very Gary. He did not strong arm me. So
he's really pushing that, man.
He's really pushing it, man. He's hashtagging everything.
What's the trade?
The trade is my Batman 121, first appearance of Mr. Zero or Mr. Freeze, at a 4.5. And he has a Brainiac, first Brainiac in a 4.5. So he's got me by about $200, believe it or not, on the dollar value. But to be honest with you, I think my book is a little bit harder to find than the first Brainiac. And the best part about it is, before Tim shows these cool pictures, they were both won in raffles. I won mine from a raffle like 3 years ago, and then he won his from Torpedo Comics. So that's pretty funny about that.
All right,
this is what you do then.
This is the gorgeous variants that are going up for sale tomorrow.
Awesome.
This is the exclusive for KRS Comics, done by Warren Liu. Look at that. Look at the. I like the one on the right. I don't know. The one on the right.
I
looks
like the one on the left, man. I mean, that's just,
it looks thicker on the right. I'm just saying, man.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if you just
the
send
left
these right
is
to
the
Rocket.
homage, man. The left is the homage, and that's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna get them both, man. I'm gonna get them both. So yeah, that's right. It goes on pre-sale tomorrow at 11 a.m. So use the discount code of LOTLB. I'll put it in here, and you'll get 15% off. But I highly suggest you set an alarm on your phone or whatever.
Yeah,
you know, the website in here at KRS
That's
Comics.
Thank you, Captain Crunch. He's got good taste.
Yeah,
it'll go good with my Batman Adventures 12. I mean,
Yeah, of course. Nice.
It's good to see that they're still doing exclusives, man. So there you go, man. Go hit up KRS Comics tomorrow. Use the discount code LOT. You'll get 15% off that boy. So let me see where we're at, man. Let me you know what this is deserving of?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
It's time to go.
That's right, boys and girls. We got a Mikey Sutton exclusive. This is what we like to call a twofer. This is a scoop as well as a long-term spec list based on the scoop. If you didn't know, a War Machine series is coming to Disney Plus, and this is what we got from our man Mikey Sutton. So I'm just going to read it verbatim what Mikey Sutton gave me. Tony Stank may be dead, but his technology will continue to haunt the MCU for possibly decades. A War Machine TV series has been planned for Disney Plus since the very beginning. Marvel Studios sees unfulfilled potential in the character, one with more of a military bend. Disney Plus provides them the opportunity to go dig deeper into the character, explore his darker psychological corners, with the coronavirus halting productions, which is also making fools by pointless issues of Spider-Man. I wonder if he's talking about Corona. Development for War Machine has quieted down, but will rocket to the surface once the pandemic has drifted into irrelevance. Details are scarce. However, discussions for War Machine a decidedly adult route, not adult like Jessica Jones on Netflix, but a more somber tone with dealing with PTSD and brutal violence and gray morality, meaning, a lot of times, have you ever noticed War Machine's always coming like, hey, I have to stick with what the military says, and sometimes that doesn't jive with what Tony Stark's want. Anyway, of course, the big budget effects will be present. This will be Marvel Studios' opportunity to have an Iron Man TV series and taking the time what it truly feels like to be the man in the box. Expect a stronger military feel. They don't call him War Machine for nothing. Yet it end up being a big deal. Will also feature the debut of, and we're going to get to that in our long-term spec list. Sorry, I wasn't reading that too well because it was off to the monitor on the side here. Normally I have it right in front of me. So there you go, boys and girls. A War Machine with more of a somber tone to it, more of a military thing. And if anybody has PTSD, it's War Machine. Right? He got his legs blown away. He had to relearn to walk, and then he lived through the snap, right? And he had to see everybody die in front of him.
I think the moral of the story here is eat your heart out, Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard out here for a peanut.
You gotta give a shout out.
Kind of hard because his other show got canceled too. So
that poor guy.
We got to give a shout out to Dollar Bin Fodder through your $25 super chat.
Holy cow! Thank you for the $25 super chat.
Go toward a few masks, a couple long boxes of latex gloves. Stay safe, my dude.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate
Dollar Bin
that.
Fodder. If Custom Ink makes these customizable face masks, I will use the $25 to buy as many as I can and just give them away to everybody. I'm not trying to make money off selling masks, but I've seen that they can put you can put art on there coming up, so that would be cool. So big shout out to Dollar Bin Fowler for the $25 super chat. So let's get right to it, boys and girls. So this is a long-term spec list that Mikey's gotten from his folks inside Marvel, asking about the upcoming War Machine show. So let's get right to it, boys and girls. First one on the list is, well, I don't know, to be honest with you. It's a character I have never ever heard of, but you know,
prepare to be
wow.
What's the word? Not wowed. Underwhelmed.
No, I would
underwhelmed.
Half the list on here is there's some cool
just
old
unknowns,
books in here,
people I've never heard of.
Yeah. So first up on the list is DIRGE. What can you tell us about DIRGE?
Okay, so we've got DIRGE. Obviously, there's not a lot of history with this guy. He's pretty much an alien who interacted with War Machine when he was going up against Immortus, who was posing as Kang at the time. He had his own kind of suit. This was very reminiscent to the symbiotes. He had an Eidolon like warwear suit, which was a sentient bio armor, which Rhodes also had at one point. So this guy basically first appearance and last appearance in the same issue. So I would really assume I could see this as not being so much as like a character you're going to see, but as like a host of bad guys, possibly like
interesting,
like just a bunch of, grunts that they would fight against possibly. But
what's cool is his tie to Immortus and Kang. And we all know that, Kang and Immortus is coming. So if they put that somehow little Easter eggs going toward that'd be cool. But this can obviously just be like a one-off villain that they're going to face, but still pretty cool. And you know, it's like we're saying, if you find this on eBay for $2, just buy it. What are you gonna, it's nothing ventured, nothing. And
I'm gonna go on eBay right now and take a look.
That cover's got a little bit of a Spawn look to it right there.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's any sales data on this. Wow, there you go. $5.49, man. The average, no graded sales as we expected. This is in the lost era of Marvel books in the 90s, where it's just they were all over the place. There was tons of them.
CGC even recognizes it as a first appearance on a graded.
No, they don't. Here's a helpful hint to all you collectors out there. When you have a somewhat of a rare or unknown first appearance, when you submit it, make sure you tell them, so that they can note it on the comic, because a lot of times they won't note it on the comic. Similar to Kanan #1, CGC said that's the first appearance of Sabine Wen, not number 6. So it's whatever the market dictates, y'all.
And also what CGC says sometimes too, right?
Yeah, I mean a lot of that's who it's #1. So a lot of times if you want to go,
funny though, it used to be Overstreet that would tell you what the key books were. Now it's CGC.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to say this I'm going to upset some people, but Overstreet is trash. It is trash. You can't trust something that comes out every 3 or 4 months. They ran that business into the ground and had no idea what to do with it. They could have stepped up and spent some money and been the preeminent price guide, but they didn't. And CGC stepped up. They did something, and Overstreet doesn't even have an online price guide. It's ridiculous. I understand it's a cool periodical to have, but by the time you get it in the mail or buy it, it's already out of date.
Those prices are not.
They never moved into the new millennium with digital, with online sales and eBay. Where
the articles are good. Like I learned about Canadian.
It's like something out of Playboy. Pictures out of paper. The articles are good.
I learned about Canadian price variance from reading Overstreet.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's good stuff in there, but I mean, Wizard left a void for Overstreet to take over. I mean, really, Wizard should come back. If I had enough money, I would totally buy Wizard. I mean, Wizard doesn't.
Come on, super chats, everybody. Let's get it going. We can buy. We can buy Wizard.
$5 million worth of super chats.
Let's go.
Wizard World is barely even a convention anymore. I mean, it's awful. I don't know why. Who even goes to Wizard Worlds anymore? But yeah,
they used to have that cool Comic-Con box, that mail away box. It was cool.
If Overstreet came out with a slab, they would get instant credibility, right?
I think so. Instant.
For all the people on Instagram and YouTube who make videos that complain about CDC or whatever, hey, they're still #1. They're still Coke, and CBCS is still Pepsi, and PGX is fan for all of them.
It's Dr. Thunder.
All right. Yeah. All right. Next up on the list is the Winter Guard.
Oh, jeez.
Look at that. What do you know about the Winter Guard, Otto?
Wow, we know a lot because there's a lot of characters in this. And once I tell you a little bit about these characters, you'll have a better understanding of where the creators could have created these from. So if you grew up like I did and you had the Marvel Universe issues, the A through Z with all the characters, this team would be on one page. They wouldn't even get their entire, each character would not get a full page. It would be the one page to talk about. You've got Steel Guardian, Vanguard, Cybercat, Darkstar, Volstock, and Power Surge. And this was the
No,
Russian.
no. We want.
We
What
need
are
the
their
names.
names?
Yeah.
Oh, I will give those to you, gentlemen. I will give those to you
Okay.
after a brief history. So the Winter Guard, started with the Cold War, Soviet super soldiers. When you go through these characters, you've got a lot of different things. You've got some mutants. You've got the giant bear. You've got a brother and sister team. You've got a god. I mean, what other teams are this? So the first one you want to go with is Vanguard, and that's Nikola Krylenko. And then remember, there's the Crimson Dynamo, Dmitry Bukharin. You've got Dark Star, whose name was Liana Petrovna. Ursa Major was another one. Mikhail Ursus. You had Perun. I'm
What's
probably screwing that
Cybercat's
one
name?
up. Who's that?
Cybercat. What is their name?
I didn't see Cybercat. I didn't get that. Wasn't on what I read, but
It's on
there's
the
a few
screen.
more. Where is it? Where's Cybercat?
It's on the screen.
It's on the
I'm
screen.
not reading it. All
literally.
right.
Anyway, so
geez.
Winter Guard is what Lotto was trying to
Hold
tell
on.
you is the Winter Guard is basically the Russian Avengers, is what they are.
Yeah.
And there's
You know,
different members
this reminds
It's almost
me.
like a cheap man Canadian's Alpha Flight.
There was
Yeah,
a
more like
very-
I was going to say it's the Russian Alpha Flight.
There was a
Yeah, it
Russian
really
movie
is.
that came out. What was it last year that had?
I saw
probably
that.
Obviously, it's not these guys, but it was very like this.
It came out actually a long time. I think it came on air.
Well,
Netflix
you're the one that
last-
sent us the trailer
Yeah.
for it.
It's crazy. It's more like the Russian X-Men because they're like that guy that turned into I forgot what it's called, but you know what? Since you're on lockdown, go watch it, dude. It's it's a
Okay.
crazy Russian kind of a
Yeah, it looked
superhero
good.
film.
Well, here's an
and-
interesting thing about this is depending on the time frame and when it comes out, with character like Dark Star, you might see your first mutant on War Machine.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see a mutant maybe in some other film before that.
That's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
the thing right now is when were you going to see the first mutant? You know, there's talks about Winter Soldier Falcon, there's talks about there one being in the Shang-Chi, and now we're seeing possibly a Dark Star and War Machine.
Yeah.
All these secret little
Guardians. That's the name of the movie. It's called The Guardians. Thank you,
Guardians.
Thunderhouse.
Well,
yeah.
If you want to do a true first, we have mutants already because wasn't Scarlet Witch and her brother considered
No,
mutants?
they retconned that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marvel retconned that and made them created by the Human Evolutionary because they wanted to pull away. See, that's a thing. They made them non-mutants so they could use them in the movies because in the
They're meant to
comics
be
they switched them over so they could put them
Okay.
in the movies for the rights.
Well, yeah, and they debuted in the Avengers too. So there was
Right.
that, but they couldn't say mutant. But you know what? It may change with into the Multiverse of Madness. So they may go back to being mutants.
Well,
know.
because
And even-
that would be a great
Even in the comics,
storyline.
they're not actually Magneto's children anymore either.
So in the Age of Ultron movie, basically they got their powers through experimentation, but they can explain that away, saying they had a dormant X gene that whatever the experiments that Strucker did,
Right. Could have
you know,
activated it.
Yeah, so it's a lot of
Good.
interesting. But
Yeah.
what I draw from this is with the Black Widow, Falcon Winter Soldier, now with War Machine, we're seeing a lot of ties to like Russian. Omega Red has been on our top cover price top 10. If you haven't seen that yesterday, the list has pretty much changed and it's Corona free now. So it's
Thank God.
if you didn't want to watch the cover price top 10 because of Corona, it's not
Well, you
there
know what?
anymore.
We gave it 2 weeks, and the corona went away.
Yeah.
So
It went away.
stay inside.
It was
and
a
it'll,
short
it'll
day
go away.
quarantine
It'll go
period
away.
and it went away.
That's right.
It just
it'll go
went away magically. You're gonna love it. So like I said, it's all these kind of Russian characters, and you can see how they're building the Black Widow, Falcon Winter Soldier, and War Machine are all kind of in the same kind of espionage kind of, you know what I mean? How
Yep.
Marvel's got cosmic or magic. This is all in that realm right here. So let's see if there's any sales data on this. $2.
You got it. Bam.
There you go, man.
We are hitting you with some
$2.
bangers tonight.
So if you go to coverprice.com where we're pulling this data from, there's an actual thing for raw prices, and you click on it, it'll show you all the raw sales, which is pretty cool. And it just doesn't fit on the screen, or else I'd show it to you guys. But it's pretty cool if you want to look up actual sales data. But these are books that you may have in your long boxes. Sometimes it's cool to go digging in your own long boxes. Sometimes
These
it's
are
cool to go-
definitely books that you have when you buy someone's collection,
Oh,
or
for sure.
or a full long box of books or something.
Right.
These are all the books that Gary has, and he just
Yeah,
throws
for
away.
sure. Gary is. You know what?
Stylist.
Go on his IG page after the
Yeah.
show, and I'm sure he'll have a sale for you.
All these books are coming out of Gary's Drek boxes and going into his $10
Yeah, exactly. As we're
Sales
speaking right now.
Next up on the list is
Next up,
Magma,
we've got
but not the
Magma.
one you think.
Liquid hot magma.
Magma. So obviously, Magma, we've got another character that is very similar in the theme of Marvel movies and Marvel TV is very similar to his character. War Machine, we got another guy in a suit. This guy obviously shoots out liquid hot magma. And he's basically he kind of has a sob story where he was CEO of a company and his wife died in a car crash, and it happened to do with some activists blockading like this mining situation. And so he became like a criminal, because that's usually the route you go. So he sticks around. You know what's interesting about him, though, is he does have a lot of ties with the Roxxon Corporation, which is a great company in terms of like Marvel MCU that we haven't seen a lot and hopefully will show up. So you could have another character here who's working for like a Roxxon Corporation and just a baddie villain. So first appearance for this guy is actually going to be Marvel Team Up 110. And another thing is he's more of an Iron Man villain, which obviously is kind of a lot of the case with most of War Machine's villains. So
yeah, but I think we talked about it yesterday that with Iron Man effectively gone from the MCU, a War Machine can, basically take on all the characters that they never get a chance to do. You know what I mean? So there it is.
For sure.
I don't know if there's any sales data on this.
Dollar Bin Fodder says there's a Mark the Jewelers insert variant for this one.
Yeah.
There you go. So no, there's not. But there is a newsstand and a direct stand.
Cents, right?
So maybe you can go for that. You never know, man. I love Marvel team ups anyway. There's a lot of cool, kooky books in Marvel team up, man. So Marvel team up. I like that old school logo too. Remember when that Iron Man had that logo?
That was great. That's Bob Layton artwork right there, I think. That looks real cool.
All right. So now we're going to move on to a book that we had.
You had no sales data for this?
Nothing.
Nope.
Oh,
nothing.
I did see. I was cruising on eBay and I saw a couple books for like $10 to $15 for this guy. So
what?
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
they're asking, or they sold for that?
They were asking around that price.
Well, better been CGC 9.6 for it. Jesus.
I would imagine it probably has to do more with it being like an older Marvel team up book, Spider-Man, Iron Man. Less Magma and more Spider-Man, Iron Man.
Yeah. So, it used to be Marvel team ups are picking up a lot because everybody assumed that, hey, this is when Spider-Man's going to finally meet this character. And a lot of times, this is the first time Spider-Man met up with a lot of characters, like Shang-Chi is in one of them.
Captain Britain. But these are all, you had John Byrne did work on this, Bob Layton, a lot of famous artists worked on this throughout the years.
I love Bob Layton. He's one of my favorite people, man.
So this was actually created by David Michelini and Herb Trimpe.
Oh, Herb Trimpe. There you go. Who did the cover?
On that cover, I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I thought maybe it would be written.
Bob Layton, his name's right to the left of Iron Man. You can see Bob Layton's.
Yeah, but that's definitely Layton, his Iron Man.
Yeah. Next up on the list is actually a book that we have spec'd in the past because another one of their team members was on our long-term spec list. So I wonder who this could be. What do we got, Otto?
Yeah, we got the Wrecking Ball coming out now from Defenders number 17. Thunderball was at I got screwed it up already. God damn it. Can we edit this?
No,
okay.
Where's the time?
Take two and
go. Thunderball, Defender 17, part of the Wrecking Crew. He was the odd man out because he was a smart physicist. He's messed with some gamma rays and he was able to recharge the Thunderball when he came into it. He's like those mid-class street villains and stuff like that with his crew. And they were okay characters, kind of quasi-villains, but they've been around the block a couple times. So
if Thor had a rogues gallery, the Wrecking Crew would be in the Thor rogues gallery. You know what I mean? Because I thought their first origin was they had these random weapons that
crowbar.
The crowbar
charged with like mystic powers from Asgard, and so they were using it to rob banks, of course.
Right. That was so ridiculous.
No.
Well, I mean, if you remember the Golden Age, I mean, what did Superman used to do? He used to help he used to arrest bank robbers. Superman was just didn't have shit to do. There wasn't enough supervillains for them back then. But this is a great book, man. I love
Bulldozer, Pile Driver, Thunderball. And it's just look at the names. I mean, they were just coming up with something, but it's fun comic book stuff. That's what you want,
We had one of the other guys that we had on a long-term spec list, I believe, for Thor: Love and Thunder. I forgot which one though. I'd have to look it up. But you know what? You get this one, and I would say 3 of them, this is their first appearance. There's one other guy, his first appearance is in another, I think that's in the Thor book, is the bald guy. What's his name?
Wrecker.
Crusher. The Crusher, right?
No,
yeah,
you're thinking Crusher Creel.
No, there's another guy, the bald guy in the Wrecking Crew. When his first appearance is in not the Absorbing Man, but one of the Wrecking Crew, his first appearance is not in this issue. So that's another.
The Wrecker's first appearance is Mighty Thor 148.
Mighty Thor, he's on the cover.
That's it. Mighty, yeah,
he's the one with the crowbar.
He's the one with going after Thor. Could you imagine? So you're going after Mjolnir, right? Mjolnir and a crowbar are going at it. Like, come on, buddy, you got a lot of stones.
Yeah.
No, but the crowbar is imbued with Asgardian mystic power. So
right.
Magical, not your average crowbar. So
what the hell are the Asgardians doing with crowbars?
No, they didn't. No. The mystical energy came down to Earth and imbued these random things. So if you're sitting around with like a fucking wrench and you would have a magical wrench.
Right.
Not a magical wrench, man. I was just saying. All right, I'm guarantee you there's sales data on this.
Yeah, this has been around the block.
So here's the interesting thing, man. This is a 9.8. This is obviously this book has been on collector's radar because for the people who like to collect first appearances of the Wrecking Crew, there it is, man. 9.8.
It's also a nice Bronze Age Defenders book, and
it is.
That was a hot run.
Yeah. So there's you got Nighthawk there. One of my favorite series of all times because it was just so ridiculously crazy, and it dealt with a lot of supernatural stuff. And some really, I mean, you had Hellcat, you had that gargoyle guy, you had all kinds of random Moon Knight at one point. The biggest non-team is what they called it, right? 9.8 sold for $4.95. You had a 9.6 for $2.50 and a 9.4 for $1. That's not too bad of a drop off between a 9.6 and a 9.8, I think. But like I said, these books have been loved and read for a long time, so a lot of times it's hard to find something in a 9.8 in this book. But I actually have
year on that comic, on that book.
1974, I think.
Yeah, okay, it's early.
Yeah. So great book, great team. Look at that.
Power
Doctor
Man.
Strange, Submariner, and Hulk, dude. Come on, one of the most powerful teams ever. And then when you do Silver Surfer in there, come on, unbeatable in my book, unbeatable. And if you want to debate me on it, come on, a Fanboy Fight Club, and let's do it because we're bringing it back. We'll talk about that toward the end of the show. But next up on the list,
we've got the
Living Laser.
So this is actually kind of one of probably the more well-known characters on our little long-term spec list.
It definitely is.
The Living Laser has been around for a long time. He's definitely just been this, I don't even know if I'd call him a B team, probably a C team villain for Iron Man, creeping around the background. Initially, this is a guy who created laser beams to shoot out of his hands. Eventually, he got upgraded and was able to turn his whole body, or was a whole like laser beam, and could travel. They've done some pretty jacked up stuff to this guy for superheroes. In fact, War Machine at one point launched him into space, into the Andromeda Galaxy, and he wasn't supposed to return for 2 million years. So that's kind of messed up. That's a little extreme. That's a little extreme. So I kind of hope he hands Jim Rhodes his ass in this TV show a little bit.
Living Laser, bring him back. I mean, this is one of the coolest names too. Come on,
so this is a good first appearance. This is early Avengers. We got Avengers 34, created by Stan the Man Lee back in 1966.
Of course, it's Stan because of the alliteration with the name.
Right, exactly. Funny thing is, when I was looking up some information on this guy, a little trivia is fun trivia I found. Superhero Living Lightning changed his alias to simply Lightning to avoid confusion with the Living Laser. So this guy had such a big influence. He made some superhero change his name. So
street credibility.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Yeah, influence on him. Just don't want to confuse people at the barbecue. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
one of the most deadly super foes in the annals.
Right. So he's been around and been a part of pretty much every team. He was the Hood. With the Hood, he's with Lethal Legion for a very long time. Army of Evil. I mean, this guy is a thug who's with everyone. So.
He's been around since Avengers 34. I mean, that's straight up Silver Age right there. And the sales data will show it. Look at that. 9.8 sold for highest, just one copy. $1,046. Not bad for a book from Silver Age, man. It drops precipitously. Oh, I've been practicing saying that.
Nice.
Down to a 9.6 in the 408 high, 359 with an average of $383, 2.216 for a 9.4. That's not bad at all. I mean, for an Avengers Silver Run, a Silver
I'd be
Age
into
run,
that book at the 9.2. I like the 9. That's not bad.
9.2 is really cheap, actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because it's cheaper. The high price on it is cheaper than a 9.0, but that's just random. Like, hey, let me buy this now and then.
That's someone who was drunk who bid a little bit too high.
Yeah. That's still a
No,
good
like
cover.
if you see it on eBay, and if somebody's got a 99-cent on-trend short, and you know what, I'm gonna watch this and see where it ends, and I'm gonna just put a bill at the very end. But there you go, man. The Living Laser. So they're building up the series. They're gonna have a few baddies for Rhodey to take on there, and
it looks like it could be a villain of the week kind of show, right?
Yeah, but with all these baddies, he's gonna need a team to help him. And what team is he gonna call?
Force Works, everybody.
That's right.
Force Works.
Duh.
Right? Who else would you call? July 1994. Force Works. Listen to this, you guys. Who remembers the West Coast Avengers? Not many of you, because it died off pretty quickly in the early 80s. But that was something I bought off the rack. So this is what they used this team, not the West Coast Avengers team, but a different team, and they disbanded it, and they just kept it as certain characters. And you've got Maria Hill, she's running the show. War Machine is there, Gauntlet, Maria Hill, Mockingbird, Quake, U.S. Agent, you can see War Machine. So you definitely see that this is going to be a team kind of thing going on right here, Tim, right? That's what we're talking about.
If you look at the characters, I mean, a lot of them are being kind of pushed around the MCU right now. If you think about the
characters with a government
ties, right?
Well,
government team ties, that kind of thing, right?
So the team is Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, U.S. Agent, Spider-Woman, the Julia Carpenter version, and Wonder Man. So it's kind of a random team. I mean, and it's just one of those great 90s books, 1994, right in the middle of the hotness of everything. I mean, Force Works #1 has got quite a few. It's got some other first appearances too. Somebody called an organization called Plato, the Century, somebody named Star Stealth. Major Callum Load, Scatter. So West Coast Avengers are mentioned in it. So it's just one of those quirky teams that, maybe, part of a War Machine. He's like, you know what, let's get this together. What are we going to call ourselves? Force Works? Sure, why not, man? But, I dig it because I'm going to be honest with you. I've never seen this comic. And here's what really got me is Abnett and Lanning wrote this. I was like, man, they were writing back in 94 together. Because, Abnett and Lanning, I really caught on to them when they did all the cosmic stuff like Nova and Annihilation stuff. I really like that. I had no idea they were still a writing team back in 1994. That's pretty interesting. Because when they're separate, Abner was just writing something recently on his own, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this. But when they're together, Abnett and Lanning both writing together, I think they really do good stuff. I may just go check this out, man. I'm kind of digging that art too. I don't know who did the cover, but it is a very 90s feel to it. I like it, and I'm digging that version of the U.S. Agent too. So let's see the sales data on this, y'all. $2. That's all it's going to cost.
I was going to say nada. I was going to say zilcho.
No, I mean, if I were to saw this somewhere on the shelf for like $4, I would buy it because I look first issue.
And it tells you that, doesn't it, Tim? Killer first issue.
Killer first issue. So I mean, this obviously the first appearance of the Force Works team. If you ever knew, I mean, there was quite a few teams that came out in the 90s because Marvel was absolutely blowing up at the time. So they had West Coast Avengers, Great Lakes Avengers, Force Works, X-Force, X-Factor. Keep on going and going and going. There's tons and tons of teams. The biggest on this list that was part of the scoop, which I didn't say, is a character that we talked about on our long-term spec list is finally going to make their debut in the War Machine series. What I was given on the long-term spec list was the character's name, not their superhero identity. And who is that? That's right, guys. Riri Williams is going to make her debut in the War Machine series. We had talked about Riri Williams on a long-term spec list was coming to Disney Plus in some type of iteration. We didn't know, possibly maybe her own Disney Plus show. My guess is she's going to be introduced because obviously Iron Man is dead. Maybe, I don't know. Iron Man is no longer there. Tony Stark was basically the mentor of Riri Williams, right? She had found an old Iron Man suit and used some different gadgets to build herself her first, I guess, Mach 1 suit, I guess you can call it. And then she eventually met up with Tony Stark, who said, and she was actually a genius level. She got submitted to MIT when she was like 14 or 15 years old. She was very smart, one of the smartest people in the comics. So this is a right up there where she could be a smart person that can take on the suit, and perhaps Rhodey will kind of guide her along to how to be a superhero. But if you notice when I look at these lists that I'm given, this one was given to our friend Mikey Sutton. I parse it very carefully to see what name is given to me, because a lot of times these people are just giving the list and they're not hardcore comic book fans, and they give it to Mikey passed along to me. And instead of saying Ironheart, they said Riri Williams specifically. So that tells me that Riri Williams will be introduced in War Machine, perhaps toward the end of the series. She will don the full bone armor and give the name of Ironheart, and then she'll go off to do something else. That, to me, that would be a great way of storytelling. Introduce her as Riri and get through, the whole series, and then she finally dons a suit, and then introduce her in the last episode, and then boom, she's off.
So basically, just the same way they did with War Machine. I mean, you win a whole movie without seeing War Machine. So
that's
introduced as a character, and then he gets the suit a little bit later.
Yeah. So there's some interesting sales data on this book because this is one of the few there's actually a variant for it. So this is the regular cover of Invincible Iron Man #7. You look at that. That's pretty good sales data for just a regular cover. And the print runs on these are pretty high. So average raw, $51.50. That's the button I'm talking about on the coverprice.com. If you see the average raw price and you click on that button, that's an actual button that I did a screenshot of. If you click on see sales data, it'll show you all the sales that have been done on eBay, My Comic Shop, and wherever else sells a lot of raw comics. A 9.8 sold for $290 as a high. Look at 47 for the low. So average price of $147. A 9.6 running range high of $120 to $41. Average is about $79. So this is one of those books where if you look at it, there's only 5 copies sold in a 9.4 and only 3 in a 9.2. Because you know why? They were probably got the kiss of death. People were like, I don't want to buy this. Right. But 84 copies of a 9.8 because it's a modern book. It's relatively easy to get in the 9.8, $79 and 9.6, and only 15 of them sold. So look at that, 84. So what do we always say on the show? If you can find a 9.8, just spend the extra duck bones to get it. And this one has a variant, and this is a popular variant that's been around that everybody talked about when it first came out. And I don't know if it's so much the variant, but probably the scarcity of it. Plus, it's the first appearance of Riri Williams. I'm not even going to show you the other book, which is Iron Man #3, volume 4, which is actually the first appearance of Ironheart. That's when she actually gets the Ironheart. And so that's in another, but these are the more sought after collectibles. Graded, average sale 73, raw copy $83. That is pretty damn good for a raw, man. So 9.8.
Find that in a raw copy though. That's
oh no, I have mine.
Yeah, you have yours. Okay.
I remember I bought this. It was only like a 1 in 10, I would think. It wasn't even that scarce of a variant. These were the Women of Power variants. Really, the character's not on there. It's just Mary Jane, but it's because people want the more scarcity when they're collecting something. 9.8, high sale of $450, low sale of $70. Wow, that's huge. But look at the big drop off between a high sale on a 9.6 is $175. High sale on a 9.8 is $450. This one even shows it even a bigger detail. A 9.4, only 2 copies sold. A 9.0, only 1 copy sold. Nobody run. I mean, I'm wondering how they bought it. If it was a buy it now, or if it was, well, I'm going to tell you the 125. Definitely buy it now. 90 to 60, the 69, that's got to be a auction, right? I mean, obviously they're not going to show cents on here, but it looks to me that that's where it is. But that's the big scoop of this. A long-term spec list is Riri Williams will make her debut in War Machine. Obviously things are subject to change, but right now with the way the productions have gone back so far, that gives them time to work it out, and this is where they want to go with it right now. The character's been hot for a minute because anytime a new character comes out, people are going to collect it regardless of what you think of them as a character, if they're fun or not. Obviously this is geared more toward younger people. She was part of the Champions too, and believe it or not, I actually like reading the Champions. It reminds me of an old superhero comic when I was a kid. You know what I mean? With the Champions, with the Amadeus Cho and Nova.
I couldn't
and
get
all
into it, man. Everyone was just too witty. It was like they constantly were battling each other with wit and banter, and it just was annoying.
Welcome to the old man's club, man. Where you're officially an old man. It was
just like everyone was just so clever. They're all so clever, and it was so dumb, dude.
Okay, boomer.
God, man. Annoying.
Like I said, these books are for children. If you're reading it, then you should be a child or have a childlike fascination, Manimal.
You're reading it? Are you a child?
No, but I read it with a childlike fascination. You see that? You see what I did there? I read it with my inner child.
He read it with a child locked in his basement.
Go now.
We'll keep the basement talk out of here. We don't like negative basement talk.
Hey now. So there's the gist of it, boys and girls. The War Machine series is being developed for Disney Plus. These are the list of characters that they want to use for it. Reba Williams is probably the biggest name on there. And, if you don't have it, go out and get it. So that's the way it is, boys and girls. So I just found out from we are getting we're starting to finally get slowly getting some more Marvel news. We got a giant one coming out next week. That's something we have been talking about probably for 5 months.
That'd be awesome, man. I'm excited.
I know Justin's gonna love that news, right?
Yeah, Justin's gonna love the news, but Justin loves any news, so he can get rid of his 10 copies of whatever he's selling.
His 60 copies of Star Wars.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us. 107 people watching, 108. Thank God we're back to normal now. For a couple weeks there, we only had half the viewers, and it was these damn notifications weren't going. I was thinking nobody cares about DC news because we had 2 DC long-term spec lists and only like 50 people watching them. So
let's be fair. Nobody got the notifications. Okay.
Yeah,
there you go. Ryan is sticking up for DC.
That's
so
right.
We'll go back.
I was excited about that news. I mean, shit, man. We got Swamp Thing and Zatanna and all that fun shit.
Yeah, there was
How could you not be excited about that?
Justice League. There's some great books in there.
Even
the ones that you can't afford.
Well, I know they are expensive books.
Yeah, that's the problem with DC spec books is they're all like crazy, man.
Yeah, shout out to Matt Jarbo in the live. Sorry, I took a big hit.
Careful. Oh, the cough makes it better. Go ahead.
Yeah, it does. Hey, shout out to Matt Jarbo. Go check him out at $3 Theater. If you notice, people who have check marks in their name are people who have large subscriber counts. So last time Cosmic Wonder was in there, he had a check mark and he has like 500,000 subs. I think Matt's got like 40,000, but go check him out. Go submit or go sub up Matt Jarbo, $3 Theater. He is a full-time YouTuber, so the views, he really helps him out because that's what he uses to pay the bills, y'all. Luckily, I get to work from home, or unluckily. I got called today. Actually, somebody sent me an email and said, hey, can you call me and you help with something? And then I was like offended that I had to work.
Yeah, dude. I feel the same way. I'm like,
what?
I'm getting sick of being at home, but then when someone calls me, I'm like, God, how dare they?
Are you kidding me? Like,
bro, I'm at home right now, man.
Spoiled.
I mean, if they were to call me at like 4:30, I wouldn't even answer. But it was like 1. I was like, I guess I should work. I'm like, man. Dot boy Steve, you missed. Okay, here we go. We're gonna do this the lightning round. So you know what I'll do is I will read the scoop again for those just joining us. The scoop is pretty small. It's a lot of a long-term spec list, but what I'll do is I'm gonna go through and I'll show you the comics real fast. So basically, a War Machine TV, our Disney Plus series, is being developed for Disney Plus, and I'll read you the scoop from our friend Mikey Sutton. Tony Stark may be dead, but his technology will continue to haunt the MCU, possibly for decades. A War Machine TV series has been planned for Disney Plus since the very beginning of the launch. Marvel Studios sees unfulfilled potential in the character, one with more of a military bend. Disney Plus provides them the opportunity to dig deeper into the characters, explore the darker psychological corners. With the coronavirus halting productions, which is also making fools by pointless issues of Spider-Man, I thought I'd just keep on saying that one. Development for War Machine has quieted down, but will rocket to the surface once again once the pandemic has ended, or at least died down. No pun intended. Details are scarce, however. Discussions were for War Machine to take a decidedly adult route. Not adult like Jessica Jones adult, but more of a somber tone dealing with PTSD with some brutal violence and gray morality. Of course, it's a big budget series. This will be Marvel Studios' opportunity to have an Iron Man TV series taking the time what truly feels like to be the man in the box, meaning, being in the suit. If you don't get that, expect a stronger military feel, and they don't call him War Machine for nothing. So it's going to be very heavy on the military side. He's going to deal with being in the military, all the fallout of losing Tony. I mean, you see how somber it can be, right? A War Machine series, he lost his best friend, and he's dealing with all the aftermath. Probably being that the Falcon Winter Soldier come out before it, he's going to deal with that too, because that seems to be very influenced on the military and the government and how Falcon Winter Soldier, U.S. agent, and everything deal with it. Yet what might end up being the big deal of the show will be the debut of Riri Williams. So there you go. That is the scoop. And here we go. The lightning round. Dirge is on the long-term spec list. Dirge first appearance is War Machine number 23. You can buy it for $5. Next up on the long-term spec list, the Winter Guard. First appearance is in Iron Man number 9. And the Winter Guard features other characters, Steel Guardian, Vanguard, Cybercat, Darkstar, Vostok, Phantasma, and Power Surge. Sales data on the Winter Guard is about $2. Next up on the long-term spec list is Magma, not that Magma. The Mutants is going straight to Disney Plus, by the way. This is Magma, Jonathan Dark. The first appearance is Marvel 110, and nobody has bought this comic at all. Go buy it.
Ever.
Next up on the long-term spec list, it's Thunderball, part of the team of the Wrecking Crew. First appearance is Defenders number 17, created by the great Len Wein and Sal Buscema. Rest in peace, Len Wein. Sales date on this, pretty good, actually. 9.8 sold for $4.95, 9.6, $2.50. A lot of raw copies being sold. It's a great book to have. Next up on the long-term spec list, The Living Laser. First appearance is Avengers number 34, created by Stan the Man Lee in 1966. And this baby's got some great sales data. 9.8 sold for $1,046. You get a 9.6 in the range of 408, so with an average of 383. Great sales data on that. It's a great book to have. Next up on long-term spec list, ForceWorks. Yes, that team. First appearance of ForceWorks is ForceWorks number 1, created by the great writing duo of Dan Abnett and Danny Lanning. Sales data on this, nothing. You can buy it for $2 or trade in a face mask for it and buy 10 copies of it. And finally on the list, as we just said, Riri Williams, first appearance, Invincible Iron Man number 7. There's also the Women in Power variant. Sales data on it is pretty good. 9.8, average sale of 147 with the high of 290. Average sales data on a raw 5150. The variant, which is the Women in Power variant, is a average sale of 273 for a 9.8 with the high sale being 450. Average sale on a raw, $83.18. You know, as I was going through this, I was thinking, what do I need you guys for? I just did that by myself.
That was great.
No, I
You
don't want to do it
started
though.
last time, too.
That's what we call the lightning round, boys and girls. So thank you for, I hope that was enough for somebody who's just joining us. I hope you appreciate the lightning round. All right. If there's any questions in the live chat, we got about a good 12 minutes.
Oh, hey, did you want to talk about Fanboy Fight Club?
Yes, we do. So for those who have been fans of the channel and followers and friends for a long time, when was the last time we had it? 2 years ago?
Man, it was at least, well, it was on our old channel.
Yeah. Yep. Since we have a lot of downtime, and you know, everybody's working from home for at least to the end of April, we thought we'd bring back Fanboy Fight Club. If you don't know what Fanboy Fight Club is, it's two people enter the arena or the octagon, and they debate what everybody else does, either on Twitter or Facebook, in comic shops or whatever. Basically, if we put Superman and Thor together, who would win in a fight? One side takes Superman, one side takes Thor. Let me tell you how this works, man. It's whoever has the best argument, because Otto won with fucking Star Trek and beat Star Wars, because Otto knows both Star Trek and Star Wars, and our friends he beat Beyond the Blast Doors.
Yes, he did.
Right. You know,
That
who
was
is
an
now a good
amazing
friend of mine. I
episode.
just want to say that. But I will say, though, I had to earn my spot on there. You know what I mean? I had to move up the ladder to take that win. That was an
he earned
important
it.
L. A win,
He earned it.
important W for me. I couldn't take the L on that one. So,
unfortunately, our videos, those videos all got deleted with the Old Lords of Longbox channel, or else you would have seen Aquaman versus Namor.
Who did that
And
one?
That was Marky and Undisputed Frost. That one almost got us kicked off YouTube because they were taking that shit personally.
Marky was catching feelings with a bottle of whiskey.
So basically, you just defend your character, and it's just a debate. It's kind of like, okay, so here it is. Tell us here's your character. Please give us the history of it. So basically, we break it down into this. Give us the character history, the bio, and the comics, right? And then what their powers are, what their subset are, and then the third is how would they fight against each other one-on-one. So you need to know your character inside and out, but more importantly, you need to know your opponent inside and out.
That's right.
You need to know their weaknesses, because we had this one where Ryan won with Thanos and Darkseid, and the gist of it was, Thanos couldn't win because the Infinity Gauntlet only works in the 616, because they are specific to that. So if you take Thanos out of the 616 and you fight in neutral territory, the Infinity Gauntlet no longer works. So Darkseid would have won. So there you go. So that's things
But
you have
then
to
I
think
did
about.
lose with the Batman villains versus the Spider-Man villains.
Yes, you did that one.
Spider-Man villains did win.
Animal, you took the W with yours.
Yeah,
I'm 1-1.
Green Arrow versus Hawkeye.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So
we had
we do a little bit of it. Can be like one from DC, one from Marvel.
but it doesn't even have to be that. It could be pop. I mean, I'm thinking take it even like Hercules versus He-Man, like stuff like that.
We did Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be just comics.
Anything in geekdom that people debate. Anytime there's one thing or the other, we talk Star Trek, Star Wars. We did Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. You can do anything. You can do, as you know, we haven't done Doctor Strange against Dr. Fate yet. When you do that, so basically, we just get two people. You guys come in there. You have X amount of time, and I award you points for winning. If you're strangers to each other, try not to talk about each other's moms. If you guys are good friends with each other, all out. Anything goes, as Marky Undisputed Frost showed. So if you're interested, we just got to tell you, just have personality. You know, don't be boring on the mic. You got to be able to rock the mic right. Have a webcam, have a good microphone, because, you know, we'll deduct points if we can't see you or hear you correctly, or if you're buffering. That'll make things worse at all.
Good.
So if you're interested, hit us up. If you and a friend would like to do it, then, you know, both hit us up saying if you already have a partner. If you don't have a partner, throw us an idea of who you'd like to go up against, because sometimes it's like,
I will be willing to give away something for the winner.
For the winner?
Each
all right.
episode.
All right. Now we're speeding this out a little bit.
You know what? Let me talk
We
to
can
the
put
Geek
together a
Swag.
little something, and I'll give something away to the winner of each contest.
I can make a Fanboy Fight Club t-shirt. The winner gets a
that would
t-shirt.
be dope. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
because if you guys never seen the logo, we have a Fanboy Fight Club logo, and maybe you also get one that says Master
Great idea.
Debater or Fandom. I have that too.
So we got Biggie in here because we got the home of the NY Warriors. Now I remember that was Superman versus Thor, right? And Biggs got screwed on it.
Yeah, because Biggs can't talk. He's just
No,
I'm just kidding.
Who
was Thor?
Biggs,
Who won?
No, I think Biggs lost because he didn't. Something about Superman's vulnerability to magic, right? Like that would have put him over the top.
I think so. Yeah.
That was a good one.
So we had Thor versus Superman, we had Aquaman versus Namor, we had Hawkeye versus Green Arrow, we had Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat, we had Star Wars versus Star Trek. But you know, we can run them back again. But if you could think of something else, I mean, ideally, you want two characters that are similar in in power set, because you know you can't just be like Spider-Man versus Thor or something. You know, it's kind of, and maybe you can, I don't know, but I would say maybe Shang-Chi versus Karate Man or whatever the hell that dude was.
Shang-Chi versus Kato. That would be good.
Yeah, I mean, it can be anything. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Shang-Chi versus Kato. I mean, if there's enough Kato stuff, ideally you want a character with comic book history that you can pull from, pull from actual storylines, pull from movies. So basically, you can also talk about their popularity, things of that nature. So there's a lot of things you can pull from. You know what? Surprise us, because typically I have a forum and I say, you have an introduction. You have what their skills and powers are. The introduction is the character, the history, what they've been in, comics, movies, etc., etc. Number 2 is what their skills and abilities and powers are. And number 3 is what they would do or how they would do against your opponent's character. So if you're interested, if you're a YouTuber, I would say those are probably the best, since you guys are already read up, but if you guys, once the video posts, leave a comment below on who you'd like to fight. Debate, excuse me. And then hopefully somebody else who's looking at the comments can go ahead and say, hey, I'll take you on. I already had somebody reach out to me on Instagram and saying they would be interested. And they were just like, I'll take anything and anybody. I was like, damn, okay. All right.
Wow. So there's some good ones up there right now. Lion-O.
You know what? I mean, if you're confident enough like that, I think it would be fun to do a blind draw.
All you guys can attest to this. Once the bright lights are in front of you, you don't remember everything.
No, I know.
Right?
But
yeah,
I don't know. Like
I think Manimal's
Marvel.
still like pissed off he lost, so maybe Manimal will go again.
I was just bummed because I think I had fucking Green Arrow over Hawkeye.
Yeah.
All right, boys and girls. So that's it. Any last words, Otto?
No, but I'll take Bane versus Juggernaut. I'll take Juggernaut all day against Bane. I'll throw that out there right now.
Compound, if you want to bring it, or are they just throwing suggestions?
That's a good one. No, anybody wants to do it.
Justin's not here to remind you. I'll remind you hey, Otto, do you have a giveaway?
I do absolutely on 3 Men in a Basement. We have a 1250 giveaway. We are giving away 5 items, 4 from Rocket Comics, 1 from Geeky Swag Shop. So what you have to do is you have to go to the 3 Men in a Basement channel, and in the 1250 subscriber giveaway, hashtag 3MIB. And right now, I think we're 18 subs away from 300 or 1250. And then what we're going to do is on Friday night, we're going to have another 3 Men in the Basement live show. It's going to be a great show. Our good friend Barry Gary is going to jump into the grotto and hang out with us. We've got some mail calls. Don't make fun of it. Mail calls, books that came in, stuff like that. And then if we hit 1250, we'll definitely give the giveaway. But go check out that video. And again, thanks everybody for watching tonight. This was a great show.
Shout out Man Cave Chronicles. Great idea. Quantum Leap versus Kang. Points.
I would take Quantum Leap every day. Beckett.
Oh, shit. Dennis Bakula? What's his name? Scott Bakula. Right? Yeah, man. That's a great one. I was going to say like Quantum Leap versus Marty McFly.
Sam Beckett, bro.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Love me some Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Quantum Leap.
Nobody has ever been like, I'll take Batman against somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and everybody would vote for Batman. And what we do is also the way we decided is we tabulate the votes in the live chat, but we don't do too much weight to what you say in the live chat because you could just be like, you know, pumping up your buddy even though he lost. So we take that into some factor, and then we're the living tribunal. We will say who wins. So typically what these guys like to do is they like to split the vote and make me be the final judge and juror. Not cool, man.
Well, you know,
I gotta do something.
Shout out to my brother, my real brother, Kimo Win, in the live chat. Shout out to my brother. He's started a YouTube channel and he's a musician. Go check him out. He does some great. He did a bass cover of Sade, and he did another bass cover of I want to say, but shout out to my brother, Kimo. He's a great musician. He is the one that taught me and everything I know about DJing. He DJ'd for I don't know 20 something odd years. Started back in the mid 80s. And he was one of the first B-boys in San Jose, too. That was killing it. Doctor Who versus Bill and Ted. I like that one. I am going to omit this because Fantastic Four versus Teenage Ninja Turtles would be a slaughter. It would be turtle soup. How dare you, man from Beantown? Just go cry in your quarterback news.
Coke versus Pepsi.
Right. Oh yeah. How about Iron Man versus Elsa, right? Because everybody loves to say, you know, only because I have a young daughter, about Elsa and her mutant abilities and everything like that.
How about Elsa versus
it would be a
Killer
hardcore
Frost.
Valiant fan, but Exo Manowar versus Iron Man. I think
that'd be a good one.
That would be a good one, but somebody really needs to know their
Valiant. You get that Exo stuff, but you could find it.
Yeah. The Jacksons versus the Osmonds. Jacksons, hands down. Come on now. Even Tito had better selling records than all of them.
Joe Exotic versus Carol Baskins.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. But Carol, you know what? You know what? If we ever do it, I don't want to say it, but I just found something out about that guy that would lose him points. So, oh my God, if we did that, I think that would melt the internet. I don't know. Could we handle that? Carol Baskins versus Joe Exotic. Oh my God.
I like Jacobs. Ezra Miller versus Ezra.
You ain't right, Jacob. You ain't right, man. You ain't right, man. You are
Ezra Miller wins, obviously.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We've already seen footage.
The current run of XO, because I'll say XO, because remember how he's like in this kind of weird Conan type barbarian word. Lord of the Rings versus Star Wars. Oh, well, all you have to do is watch Kevin Smith movie. And he talks about it. Lord of the Rings is just about walking. I would say Lord of the Rings versus Game of Thrones. You know what you should do? You should do like Breaking Bad versus This is what we're talking about. You can do anything. You can do TV shows. You can do movies.
Pop culture, man.
Anything pop culture that people debate.
Anything you know well.
Or think you know well, right?
I can't come in here and be like quantum physics versus like, you know.
Allow me to wax poetic for a second. Know thyself and know thy opponent is more importantly, because the only reason Otto won because he knew his subject matter and he knew his opponent's subject matter.
Of course. I knew he had a YouTube. The worst thing you could have done was say, hey, I'm on YouTube. Check out my channel. I went on his channel. I watched like 4 of his shows and I found something that was like,
man, for meantime, you are bored, buddy. You're Dr. Fauci versus Trump, Dr. Fauci versus Dr. Burst. So you guys,
Fauci wins. He should run for
That would be interesting. We were talking about this yesterday when we had Lobo's first appearance on there. Lobo versus Wolverine. That would be an interesting one, I think.
That'd be a good one.
Let me see. I don't even know who the fuck Snowflame is.
Either.
Is that a DC character?
No. Tim, what about East Coast versus West Coast hip hop?
Well, I'm a West Coast cat, and I even tell you, East Coast would win. They've just been doing it longer, and the West Coast hip hop had that, gangster rap for a small window, but they just don't have as many as East Coast. And all the big lyricists are, Rakim, KRS-One, Nas. In the West Coast, you got Tupac, you got a lot of the newer cats. I would say this.
We had NWA.
Fuck them both. The Dirty South is where it's at.
Oh, the Dirty South.
But like lyricists, like you got Kendrick Lamar, and those cats that are new on the West Coast, and not a lot of lyricists on the East Coast. Tekashi 6ix9ine and all that stuff. They kind of went. Well, it's kind of interesting. We could definitely do that, but I would say put two rappers together. Put like Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, or Drake versus The Game. I think Manimal would rep Drake.
Fuck no.
All right, y'all. All right. Any last words, Zach?
No, just everyone hang in there. Oh, little side note for all you guys who are subscribed to Cover Price. I'm looking at their site right now. They are going to have some maintenance Thursday night, so they'll be offline for a couple hours. And if you guys aren't subscribed to Cover Price, you should be. It's awesome. You can fall down the rabbit hole and really find out a lot of cool stuff. They have a bunch of awesome side features on their account, especially with your own collection that you can put in there. So
that's right. And speaking of which, make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Like the video, hit the notification bell. As soon as we have 4,000 subs, we're going to give away 4,000. We're going to give away 4 6-month subscriptions to coverprice.com. So there you go. At 4,000 subs, you're going to get to use it for free for 6 months straight. Right now, you use it for 2 weeks straight for a free trial, and then you have to subscribe. But they were kind enough to give us 4 subscriptions for 6 months. We are the official YouTube channel of coverprice.com. If anybody else is using the sales data that you see on their top 10 list, it's not given to them directly from Cover Price. So anybody else doing that, it's not us. So we're really great partners to have with them, and they got a great website. So I asked them if they could hook us up for something for 4,000 subs giveaway. We're going to give away 4 6-month subscriptions, and like Manimal said, it's totally worth it. Once you get in there, man, there is tons of data you can mill through, and you can add. Once you create an account, you can add your own comics to it, and it tells you what your comics are worth. So that's cool too. So it's kind of like our friend.
Didn't you say there was a way you could see CLZ, or what is it? CLZ,
yeah,
and you could pull it in.
They're working on it right now.
Doing that. That's awesome.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I'm saying it anyway. I was a test subject for this. I exported my entire CLZ collectors, and it was correctly inputted into the Cover Price database.
Sweet. So you're like a beta test.
Yeah. So it's a feature that's going to be coming up in an upcoming version. Not quite ready for prime time yet, because just imagine 6,000 people uploading their entire CLZ. And being honest with you, it's not that big of a file. If you just Google export CLZ, you can export it as a CSV file, which basically you can do it as a text file or a spreadsheet. Do it as a text file. It's easy, and you can import it to other things, because all these databases use. I don't want to get too computer techie with you, but
really techie on us right now.
Yeah, but I was able to export mine. The file isn't too big, but there's certain delimiters you need to tell it, or else the spacing won't come out correctly. So that's what they're working on right now, because people are just gonna, they're gonna make it to where I sent them my CSV file and they were able to upload it, but they're gonna make it to where you can upload it yourself. It's just not ready yet. They're still testing it, so that's another feature to look forward to. So this way, you don't have to worry about your stuff in your CLZ and in Cover Price. You can go to Cover Price, and what's cool is, you click on your comic, it'll tell you if it's a key comic lot. It'll tell you if it's hot. It'll tell you if the prices are moving up or down. And it's just why it's such a cool tool. Not only does it have a price guide, but it's also a comic book database management tool where you can put your entire collection on there. So what's funny is I didn't know when they did it, because they didn't tell me. And then one day I just logged in and go, what? It's worth X. I want to tell you how much money it's worth. But I was like, you know what? I didn't even put my slabs in yet. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to double that price, son. All right. Any last words, Dark Side Jedi?
No, sir. Once again, thank you.
Ryan,
thanks for everything. Thanks for everything.
Otto and Ryan will both be doing their top 50 lists. I don't know if Manimal is.
I'm going to be working on that. Yeah, for sure. Top 50 comics.
Manimal just said, screw it. He's not going to do it. But
I never responded on it.
I've been tagged by the Comic Crypt of Castle Hills to do my top 50. I already did a top 50 for mostly slabs. So I'm going to do a top 50 Raw comics. I think Erod did that, and I think if you go to 3 Minute Basement, Justin did his top 50 variants.
Yeah, he's got top 50 variants. I think he's up to like he went 50 to 30, so he's somewhere around there. So a lot of great stuff in that for if you're a variant guy or you just want to see some good content.
And John, we trust any upcoming auctions? No, but there was one yesterday. Namor Warriors have one every Tuesday. I don't think we're gonna do one for a while.
I am stocking up though. I am hitting up you guys. I just want to give a shout out to a couple of my LCSs, Heroes and Hitters, and the Eye Opener, because what they're doing is, because they're not getting any inventory, they're doing like appointment only. And because of free comic book day, they're doing like 50% off all back issues. So I found myself going in the past 2 weeks just to spend some money because they're good people. And if you guys can all do that too, or figure out some way that helps support your LCSs, those would be great too. So, but I'm stocking up for the next, let's not get it twisted. I'm stocking up for the next auction. So I'm getting some good stuff.
I don't know if there's enough people asking. Maybe we will. I was going to say, once you guys get your government checks, get your 1,200. Yeah, we'll do a live auction. But I may be doing something with my friend, the Big To Do, where he does an online live sale, not an auction, where it's just fixed price. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I mean, there are tons of them on IG Live right now. People are selling comics where you just put it up and there's a letter next to it and you just claim the letter. I know Flip Mode Comics has been doing it. Torpedo Comics has been doing it. Elvine's Comics, there's tons of people doing it. The Alakazam Comics is here in Orange County. They just did it on their Facebook. So I'm trying to talk to the Big To Do, see if he wants to do that to help him out. So as soon as he's got some time, we'll probably do it live from his comic store. But I told him, we're doing it on YouTube. Give us a good, a week or two to advertise it so that you guys have free time to go out there and help out your LCS, or my LCS in that case. Comic Tunes and Toys and Tustin, hit him up. He's still selling books. If you have anything you're looking for, hit him up on Instagram at The Big To Do or Comic Tunes and Toys on his Facebook page. I think his phone number is, he even listed his phone number. He's like, you literally call him and he will look through and you just say what you're looking for and he'll dig through his long boxes and get back to you what he has. So,
well, Justin said that he was able to do that for him. He found some books, didn't he?
Mike is a very cool guy and he's willing to help you out. He's helped out others. He's helped out with my charities before. We've donated to foster kids with a bunch of toys before. So he's a great guy. So help him out whatever he can. He hasn't fired anybody from his comic shop. He's still paying them. So this way you can kind of get him over the bump. And how a lot of businesses are, frankly, right now. If you can order food from somewhere, if you can go pick up food or whatever, and if your comic shop is still open, see what you can do to help them out, either curbside pickup or order online or mail. They're all doing a little something. So we'll do our part to help out in this COVID-19 thing. And thank you all for joining us. And we'll be back on Tuesday for our next Cover Price Top 10 list. And we'll be back next Wednesday for another long-term spec list that we got that's going to blow your doors. Till next time, boys and girls, keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.
Bust it. Shake and bake and pull it back.